So guys, here's what I got after I cut away all the rust and make it so the panels can fit. You see there's not a whole lot left to this side, but I got most of the rust cut out, and this side here is actually a lot solider than this side over here was, because this side here was missing a good portion of the front of this cross member down in there too. So definitely ahead on this side. More or less, I think I got it cut enough I can lay it down in here roughly and fit it. I think. I don't know if you guys won't be able to see a thing. That might work. Front corner needs massaged a little bit, we'll say. That's sitting down there. Trick is, at least back here, I got to an extent, align the line gap. I got a hole on top here to index it with. What's holding us up more than anything is this front corner. Gotta be careful with you guys sitting there then. Bent and rolled a lot. Yep. I'll give you guys an idea of what I do here. More or less put it in and then just see what doesn't fit. So as of right now, this corner needs rolled up. And looks like right about here. Yeah, it's both hitting about the same, I would say. This whole, it's easier to roll it in, and then once you get it in here to hammer it back out and contour it. But I'm gonna have to take this back out, and I'm gonna have to bring this whole thing like up and roll it. So it'll be entertaining, per normal. These patches don't just fall into place. Like I said, when you got one bed that was wrecked and mangled, and then you got one rusty bed that you don't know is square or not. So, alright, I'll bring you guys back and get something done. I hope the shadow isn't as bad as it looks here. So guys, I was back here cutting away at this and kind of realizing a couple of things here. It's actually square to the original bed the way it is, but if you come over here and look at this, especially if you sit down back here, you can see, and I think you guys can pick it up on camera, but this patch right here, the little one I did at the wheel well, is actually kicked into the wheel well about 1/4 of an inch over its length. And since I didn't have a good reference point when I was putting that in, and actually I did it on both sides too, it was skewed right in there, same on this side. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna, however it ends up there, and I'm just gonna tack it in place and look at it. Because what's gonna end up happening here is this is gonna end up getting, you know, maximum is gonna get bed lined, and then maybe a the bed liner thrown back in over top of it. Or if the bed liner hides this stuff good enough, I may just ex-nay the plastic bed liner altogether. Because what am I really gaining by that? Not a whole lot at this point. So that's what I'm thinking. And this patch is more, well, it's not the whole way fitted. It's laying in here to a point where I can look at it. And the other thing I'm seeing back here is basically, I did some patches in the front, then I come over here and patched around to the back to right here. And now I'm trying to make this side line up with this patch, and this side over here line up with this. So I'm looking at this, and you guys can see the difference here. Say again, about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. Now the bottom of this is actually bent out a little bit, but that's not a problem. I can push or hammer that in. What is a problem is this line right here going across. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this tack, and I'm going to grind that one off and cut through these two, and then just kind of spin or shift it a little bit. It actually looks like, looking at this, that this patch isn't lined up very good either. I don't know if you guys can catch the lines in this or not, but to me the whole patch needs to come over a little bit. So basically what I need to do is cut this patch out, split the gap, and this is going to be kind of like the panel where I make it look like everything is lined up perfectly, but it's not. You guys understand what I'm saying? Luckily, it's just a truck bed. If this was a body line on the outside or something, it would drive you nuts. It'd be like coming along and looking right here and being like a 1/4 inch difference or something. You'd have to mud that in and make it work, but I will do that, guys. I will make it work, and I will make it function good. Looks on the inside of a truck bed are kind of secondary. So, alright guys, I think I'm going to break for lunch here, and I got started kind of late. It is already 11:30 at least. Let me look and see. Yeah, 11:33. I think you guys can see that. But yep, that's what I'm up to. The hole's lining up good there. I think this green bed, they must have had the carriage bolts welded to the top of this so you could tighten them without having to be on top, which isn't a bad idea. I will say that it's not a bad idea. So, like I said, let me take a break, and because minimum I gotta what I do is I take a cutoff wheel and go around here and mark where the panel is gonna go. I'll just take a cutoff wheel and just kind of like score it. Then I come back with a flap wheel and then grind all the paint and rust off about 1 inch away. And then I come back and I do the same thing on the edge of this panel. That way when I'm welding, I'm not getting A, the paint smoke, B is the paint contamination in the weld, which makes for a bad weld. And it should be alright then, I think. If not, I'll make it work the way it is, and then once I have this panel fitted, then I can move over here and cut this to fit around this panel and then weld it in. And then at that point, I'll have 90% of the patches made. I come over here and cut the the little corner in there and then figure out what I'm going to do over here yet. Because what I'm thinking is this panel over here is going to end up with just a piece of bed floor in it. And it's not going to be formed exactly like this side. It's going to have lines the whole way instead of like half dimples and stuff. So there's nothing really to worry about on this side. There's no filler neck. Like on the other side, there's a bracket on the bottom of the bed with filler neck. Let me see, where's the piece that got out of there? Yeah, it has that bracket where you put a hose clamp around it for the filler neck, which I don't think my truck ever had. Probably not. So, okay, enough babbling. I'll be back at you guys later. Let's eat some lunch. Alrighty, guys. So since last segment, I finished up on that spool of wire I put in while I was doing that first patch over there. But as you can see, I got everything, excluding them two middle panels there. I'll get to that in a minute. Pretty much tacked in here. I still got to do some work in here in the back. This needs pounded in or clamped there and then welded. But everything else is pretty much where it's going to be. I won't have to do any hammering on that. Like I said, just got two little pieces to make it. A little triangle piece right there, and this dog bone looking piece here. But it's all on here, and it's actually, everything's lined up pretty decently. Like I said, even though that panel was off her, it doesn't look too awful bad. You roll with it. I mean, you can see the weld seam in it, but whatever. You know, I don't really care if you can tell that this bed has been patched, because I know it's been patched, and I'll tell you guys this much. This bed is so much solider now. It's not even funny. I never realized how... Well, I did realize how messed up this bed was, but I just now finally fixed it. So that is a wrap for that, guys. I got about probably old Steve time, probably a good 9 hours worth of welding, just because I'm not, like I said, not welding solid beads. I'm more like going zzz, 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 and then move from there over to here or something, and it's going to take forever for me to weld this. I'm going to be honest. It's going to take forever, but when it's done, I'll know what I have, which is at a not so good welder. Might not be too good looking. It's for everybody's discussion. Welded this, and I'll know what I have. If the welds break and the bed falls apart, ain't nobody to blame but myself. So I think that's gonna be it, guys. I'm gonna be deciding what I'm gonna do here. I mean, I'm really tempted. This goes this way. Because that's where that piece originally came from. So I could do that. It's close to where it goes. Right there. So I mean, I could weld that in there, and then cut another, however tall it is, 6 or 8 inches, 6 or 8 inch strip across there, and do that. I don't necessarily need this piece to go back in here. The bed is bent down a little bit right here, so it wouldn't hurt, but I don't know, it just seems kind of like a waste to do that. But I guess it would look more uniform if I do that, huh? I'll probably end up doing that. Just in here talking about it. Just cut a strip to go from right there. So the way I've been counting these is I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I do 6 ribs, then it'll be uniform looking, and however tall it needs to be there. Then then I could, well, then the bed is ready to go back on. I still have to put the hitch on the truck. I think I've decided I'm just going to redo all the brake lines, and I don't know about all the fuel hoses, but I probably will replace any ones that look suspicious to me while I got the bed off, just because it's easier. And I got these up in the front here. I got these holes. Oh, you guys see? Right in there. But I still have the panel that has them on right here. I'll have to drill out some more spot welds and put them on there. You can kind of see it from the front right there. And over here a little bit more. Then bed line or whatever the heck I'm going to do with this thing. And then, well, I got to stand it up first and weld anything I need to weld on the bottom. Like them ribs need welded together underneath of it. What I'll do is just, I'll probably pick it up with my tractor and just stand it up right here. And then weld the bottom and, like I said, undercoat or bedline that too. Then hopefully I won't ever have to do this again. At least for, say, not another 10 or 15 years anyhow. At that point I'll be, well, I'll be close to being 40. And at that point, maybe I'll have a garage I can do it in. So, alright guys. I think I got enough for this part. I usually end up with about 19 or 20 minute parts, and I'm sure I at least got that, if not 2 parts. So, thanks for watching guys. Catch everybody in the next one. Later.